Well, friends, we just finished our series on covenants, confessions, and creeds. And it's an interesting thing in starting a church because a lot of people always want to know, hey, what do you guys believe about this? Or what's kind of the doctrine of this? And we just wanted to address, as we've been living in this larger story, some of the things that Peter wrote to the early church in his letters, 1st and 2nd Peter. And so we labeled it covenants, confessions, and creeds because we knew we would be doing our first child dedications, and we were hoping and praying for our first baptisms to happen. And so we thought it was the appropriate time to cover some of those things. But what we did with this series over the 3 weeks was we really looked at it from the idea of being reborn. So having this spiritual biography, not just a physical biology, but also a spiritual biography, this larger story that we're living into. What does it mean to be born again? What does it mean to be reborn? And we talked about baptism a little bit in that first week. And then we talked about how really this covenant that we're invited into is a family. It's a huge family story, an eternal and trans-temporal family. And all of us, we talked about in the second week, are children of God. And as children of God, we long for a different type of craving. We have spiritual cravings that can only be fed in God. And that creates in us a holiness. And that kind of led us into that third week where we talked about being adults in our faith and what it means not just to get older, but to actually grow up. And as we long for these things that are spiritual in nature, we start to see these virtues, these fruits of the Spirit come into our lives, and we become holy people. And so the big theme of covenants in the Bible is that God is our God and we are his people. And as his people, we become holy. We become like him because a God like no other is creating a family like no other. And so in that third week, we talked about how the seeds of grace bring forth the fruit of goodness. And we looked at what it means to actually be a holy people, to be mature in our faith, and to be growing in those good qualities. And so over the course of this series, we didn't address, specific doctrines and theologies that maybe we're still sorting out as a church. But what we did do was look at what it means on a macro level to be the family of God and to be holy like our God is holy.